Hello, Corrina. How are you?
I'm good. Sorry, I'm just putting up my jacket here real quick because it's cold in this hotel room.
From that you're very busy because of this. This was Super Bowl, right?
Well, we're actually getting ready for spring sports now. So MLB
Oh,
season just kicked off, and NASCAR and IndyCar racing is getting ready to kick off. Horse racing is getting ready to kick off. Golf is ramping up. We have lots of spring sports that are getting ready to ramp up or have already started, and so we were doing a ton of initiatives to get ready for all of those seasons. So
yeah.
yeah, thank you so much for being flexible.
Hmm. Uh, I would be more thankful that you people are accepting the invite and basically taking your time out and having this conversation. I'm more humble, you people are gonna that. Yeah. So let's do this conversation. So my conversation first start with an introduction. So if you could introduce yourself, I have gone through your profile with you have a very good uh, that you have said in your about. I was going through this more than three times there, but I want to hear it from you as well.
Yeah, so my name's Corrina Cohen, and right now I am currently a business engagement manager for NBC Sports, overseeing the CRM and marketing automation. I've been doing this for, I think, about 16 years now. I got my start as the very first technical intern at ExactTarget, and then I was hired in as a full time employee and worked on the product side as a release manager. So I actually got my start working on the product before I actually started working in the product. I spent a few years doing that before I switched over to what they called a deployment consultant, which was a brand new role at ExactTarget, where we built and sent on behalf of some of the bigger name clients that we were starting to bring in as our tool is becoming more popular. So I got to work on Microsoft during the launch of Xbox Live emails, and back when Windows Live was still a thing. I worked on Sky Mall, so any of you that flew around and saw the silly magazines, I got to make the emails that went with those magazines, and a bunch of other big name clients. From there, I ended up taking time to run my own business for about 10 years so that I could balance being a mom and being a employee still, but for myself. And then about 6 years ago, I went back brand side after my teenagers started being snarky and not appreciating me being home as much. So I was like, well, fine. It looks like it's time for mom to go back to work full time because you don't need me anymore. So that's how
Mhm.
I ended up back on brand side. I spent a little bit of time at a biotech company here in Denver before when I first dipped my toes back into brand side before going over to Caleres and buying way too many shoes during my tenure there. And then I was approached with an amazing opportunity a few months before the Tokyo Olympics kicked off to come over to NBC Sports and take on their marketing tech stack, where I got to actually start 2 weeks before the Tokyo Olympics and oversee all
Yeah.
of the email technology.
Yeah. You are one of the very interesting, I call it persona in terms of digital marketing. You know, so when I was having this conversation with Gina, so she termed you as employee number three in Exact Target.
Oh, so that's actually my husband. So while I was at Exact
Mhm.
Target,
Mhm.
I met my husband, who was a software engineer at the time. He was there for 19 years and actually was one of the distinguished architects up until about a year and a half ago,
Yeah.
where he took some time to try. He's dipping his toes in a few other things after being in email marketing for almost 20 years on the product side. But yeah, I met him, and he by the time that he left, he was employee number 3. When he started, he was within the first 50. He was one of the
Mhm.
first developers that they had hired,
Mhm.
besides the ones that they had actually paid in stock to initially write the tool. Funny enough, part of why he came into ExactTarget is because he knew the guy that originally wrote everything for Dorsey, and Ben has a very specialized way of writing code that only a few of his friends seem to be really good at being able to parse it out for everybody else to be able to write code and add on to it. And so that is how my husband got his job, was knowing Ben and being able to piggyback onto his work, in addition to having built an in-house emailing engine for a group within Purdue University where he was working on a science project. Well, it was a project for science teachers where it was
Mhm.
the different layers of cells, but back when things were still on computer disks, where you go to the computer lab for class and you put your disk
Mhm.
in and then you learn about the different parts of the cells. But he also created an emailing engine for them to be able to email out to the different schools and the
Yeah.
teachers to sell their product.
Yeah. So you do you think that you had this advantage of having finding a person who is such a uh, early in this exact target, and he knows a lot of
I think we both
undocumented
have
things
kind of
as well?
benefited over the years. As when I once I moved up from product side over to an actual user, and he was
Mm.
still a developer, there were times where I'd be like, "Why doesn't this work?" or "Why don't we have this tool?" And then back when ExactTarget was still small and when they were pretty agile, he could go on a weekend while I was out taking the kids to dance competitions and soccer tournaments and everything else while he was at home, and he would make some of these tools while I was out doing things, and he would come and like meet us at the games. Mom has to be there like 2 hours early with the snacks because the most important part of a soccer tournament is what the snack is after the game. And so yeah, mom would be there and he would come meet us at the game, and then he would go back and work on projects. But yeah, a lot of it was I fortunately got to be a lot of the inspiration for things, and then I would give him the time to build it, and then we were both successful at our jobs.
Oh, I love the romance.
Yeah, he's one of the smartest guys that I know, and seeing some of the stuff that he would build and then being able to use it, it was really fortunate. I actually miss it now that it's been about a year and a half since he's been there, because I could go in and I could use, like when he came up with WS Proxy, I was one of the first ones that got to use it. And so I've known how to use it and got to kind of test it out and send to the beta tester because he needed to make sure it worked. Funny enough, he wouldn't have a login as a developer. So he would make these things and he would put them into production, and then he would be like, "Hey, can you go and test this on your stack? Because I want to see how it actually works on the front end now that it's out there." So I would kind of be his in where he would get to see what it looked like out in the wild.
Oh my goodness. I want to one day I'm going to bring him here and I want to decode his brain.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, that's
yeah.
he was unfortunately
Uh,
part of the recent tech layoffs. So yeah, he'll be around if I can connect
mhm.
you to. He'd be more than happy to do an interview
Oh yeah, I would
because he's been
definitely
building a
do.
lot of Legos right now while interviewing for
Oh,
a new tech job. So he
oh
can
yeah,
do something
I would.
besides build Legos with. We've been buying custom light kits for some of his favorite Lego sets. So he's been actually like putting in lighting kits and things right now in between job interviews. So this will
Oh,
be
okay.
something much more productive for him.
Yeah, I think yeah, I would love to connect with him after this. Maybe you can, help me with that. So
Definitely.
coming back to you here, okay. So you said you have 16 years of experience, and this when you become a mom, okay, then you turn to become a freelancer, okay,
Hmm.
and you say, yeah, now you this got this opportunity with the NBC Sports when the Tokyo Olympics came into this foray, right? So,
Yes.
uh, you know I have a lot of things, so I will go slowly because I love going
Hmm.
inside and inside. That's what I do in this conversation. Okay,
More than
uh,
happy.
yeah, I'm little Nowadays, initially I thought like I'm a very interesting guy. Now I'm calling myself a very crazy person.
It's
So
fun to be a little weird. I'm down here at Universal theme parks with my kids, and both of them like their friends will be like, "You're so weird." I'm like, "Hey, they get it from their mom." Because yeah, now they're both
so
teenagers, almost adults, and so I get to interact with them in a totally different way than previous trips. It's been a lot of fun.
yeah. So most of the time what I see is basically people have some different affinity towards women who is basically technically quite strong, right? And when you come with that being a very technical person, okay, uh, I'm still uh, what I say, I'll say entangle that with your romance with your husband here, okay. So uh, I'll go there. So yeah, I was basically going through your recommendation and all, okay. And in the
Mhm,
recommendation, this is Kathleen Young, okay. She has to say Corina is a great things is a get things done machine, is a get things done machine, okay, who is talented both technically and from a business orientation. Now, this is 2010 where she is
mhm.
saying this, right? Uh, how do you take this recommendation?
Um, I'm still pretty much the same. I've always been one. I love to. I'm not so much a machine. I just like to get things done, and I'm stubborn. So I don't like to leave things unfinished. Is more So people say I like to get things done. It's more I just don't like to leave things undone. I will admit that I have some ADHD, just like my kids, and so I'm one of those that I work on something, but then when I'm done, a lot of times I can be done for a while,
Ah,
and so
yeah.
I'm like, so that's more of it. Is I've learned how to deal with the way that I work to make sure I get things
Mm,
done, so that I still can work around. I don't call it a disability. I mean, there's so many people now that have ADHD or some type of learning thing that
mm,
they need some type of accommodation for. That I mean, everybody has something that they work around. But yeah, that's just one of mine. And I've known Caitlin since college. So she and I actually created a business association club that is nationwide, but we created a chapter at our college together. And then we ended up,
mm,
she became the state vice president one year, and then I followed her the next year as state vice president for the same association. And so that's like, she's always known me as somebody that gets things done because I wanted things on my resume. And at the time, we were at ITC Tech, which is now unfortunately a defunct college here in the States. But
mm,
we wanted things on our resume that all the other kids had when they went to the
mhm,
prestigious four-year colleges. So we are like, fine, we'll just create our own club. And so that was what we
mhm,
did. And so we were the founders, and we ended up recruiting enough people to be able to go and do some of the competitions, the academic competitions that they do. We scored really well in those. And we went on, like I said, to hold spots in the state candidate areas as well. And so, yeah, that
mm,
was, I'm good at inspiring people. That's one of the things that I learned from my parents. Both of my parents get things done as well. But we're not mean and we're not pushy. We don't bully people. Instead, one of the things I pride myself on that when I get things done at work now is I bring in a lot of my other teams. And one of the ways that those teams are really willing to work with me is because I always take back results to them. So a lot of times when you work in tech, you work on a project and the project manager's like, thanks, bye, we're done now.
mhm,
They don't actually tell you how it affected the company. And so one of the things that I try and do since I straddle both marketing and tech is I bring back to tech how we affected marketing wise for the company. So how much money we made from whatever new
mm,
feature that they added to our tool or our app, or if they created a new data stream for me, like how many new people we've converted or been able to retain for some of our memberships. So I always try and take it back to show that they're actually bringing value to the company, because a lot of times that's what's missing in the tech side, to really make
mm,
you also feel like you're part of that company and part of that bigger picture, and not just a little machine, the cat with the keyboard just churning things out
mm,
all the time.
mm,
Because yeah, everybody likes to bring value to what they're doing, and so that's what I've
yeah.
always tried to do with everything that I approach, whether it be a club in college or a project at work, or even with my kids. Now that they're going to college, like that's one of the things that
Yeah.
we're
Uh,
talking about, is
you
even
yeah.
like bringing the value of their education, even if they don't, because I didn't go to school for what I'm doing now. And so that's what I've told them. Like, just go and get a degree. It's not necessarily going to be what you're doing, but the experience, what you get out of it, you'll use wherever you go.
Yeah. Yeah. So this ATSD, okay, like
Mhm.
this is the, I think, the third time someone is talking about this. Okay, and actually, maybe I have to again think about myself. I am also the same person. Like, uh, if some task is there that has to be completed, I will not be in a, what you say, like in a normal way saying that okay, I have to do this until it is not complete. I'm I don't have that patience saying that okay, I'll do it tomorrow. Okay, no, it doesn't happen. I have to, uh, have to be at the very even if I have a very big team, I'll say like, where are you? No, 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 I want to understand. If no, now this in this virtual world, I say share a screen. Okay, if the
Mhm.
other person is taking the time also, there are other juniors who are, they say, I'll do this, Sasi. I say, no, 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 share a screen. I want to see what's happening. If that is interesting, I'm and sometimes I feel like they may sometimes feel like Sasi doesn't trust them. It's not about that trust, but it's about like getting things done. Like I want to see
Mhm.
something is going right or wrong. Okay, so maybe I have to again go and see videos what this actually it is. Maybe I am also the same category. Because I'll tell you what happens is, say somebody, if I'm in a technical meeting and you have different architects from different say, what do you say, like say Informatica or someone, or some Sales Cloud or someone, and we are having some technical issue there. Okay, and it always boils down to the marketing cloud. Why marketing cloud was not able to do this? And then my head going to spin saying, okay, if you're challenging me, I'll find a way out, you know.
Mhm.
So at that time, I'll be very impatient. I'll be like, even when I'm having my food also, then I'll say, okay, can I do this? Can I do this? That's keep on happening.
Mhm.
So this is now this is second third time somebody is talking to me and having the same one. So I'll definitely, because I always uh, do all this reading, all this, watching and all.
Mhm.
So even I go and study neuroplasticity and all. That's why I call myself nowadays crazy person. Yeah. So
Yeah,
there was
that's
another
I
one.
find there's very little that Marketing Cloud can't do. So I love to challenge myself with any of the
Mm,
new crazy ideas that marketing comes up with to figure out how we can make it happen within Marketing Cloud.
yeah. Yeah. And there was another one which, out of the 20, I am very choosy. I selected two. Okay. So another one is from Brent S. Okay. And what they are saying is, after updating the website layout, she would give it a search engine optimization and tune up. Then turned her attention. Then I have to read here. I just written here. Okay. So you're not only changing the layout of the website, but you are also optimizing the search. Now
Mhm.
I'm interested, like, how you basically think, like, okay, now, okay, this website is little, okay, I need to update it, okay, that's okay. Okay, now with search engine optimization, how this idea comes to you? Okay, I need to optimize this search engine for this website as well.
So that was back when I owned my own company and I did all across the gamut marketing. So I
Mm,
did a lot of website design pieces back then, in addition to email marketing. After being at ExactTarget during the time when it was the startup, I had a bit of burnout from email, so I took a bit of a break from that. And so part of what I was doing at that company is I actually took on more of an email operations role. And so my job was it was two very small regional toy companies that had merged together. And so what we had to do was not only bring the websites together, but we also had to make it very clear on the internet that these two companies were now one company, so they didn't start losing all of their customers. So that's where a lot of the
mm,
SEO came in. Was we had to be able to make sure that everywhere, basically, the customer could interact with the company, that it was very clear that two companies were now one company under the one name. But the service wasn't changing, the product offerings weren't changing, all the products were there. Because a lot of times you would go in and Google for whatever your favorite product was, and if it didn't come up under that company you're used to buying, you'd be like, "Whoa, wait a minute."
mhm,
And so that was a lot of what we had to do, was be very strategic on how to make sure that we built that trust back up under this new company
mm.
name.
So it was more with adding a lot of tags into the website so that the
Yes, yeah,
indexing
so there was a
goes up.
lot of tagging, doing some, yeah, like strategic Google ads and those kind of things. I'm so
Mm,
rusty now. SEO was so different 10 years ago that I'm like, I don't even know like what that you did back way back when. We did not go through and write toys a gazillion times and hide it in the back end of the web or
mm,
whatever that it used to be 10 years ago that you could do for SEO. But yeah, it was a lot of kind of, yeah, strategic, finding where the customers are and meeting them there. Which especially like with all of the
mm,
Googles and the Bings. I think X
mm,
Jeeves was still around back then. I'm trying to think of even what all the different search engines are. It's crazy how
mm.
much the internet changes like in a decade.
Yeah, but that foundation that we have learned, it always helps us, right? When
Mhm.
we do all this, yeah, if you go back and see what we did 10 years back, then we think, okay, a lot of things have changed, but still the foundation is the same. I'm
Yep.
going there when I go with the exact target time, okay? But
Mhm.
let me complete this, what he has to say here, okay? He says, let me see this here. she she would give it a search engine optimization tune up, and then her attention of to the company's overall presence, including social media, email marketing, and post mail. Now then he goes on to say, in less than a year, web sales had enjoyed a steady upward trend. The telephone sales team had tripled. Okay? And upper management had intended looking for ways to handle the overflow of incoming sales requests. You know what we
Yep.
have done?
I made a successful company in the Indiana Midwest. Yeah, that was a so I love to have fun. That's part of you'll see like most of my jobs in some
Mm,
way were fun, except the biotech one. That one was boring, which is why I was only there a year. But I'm a fun person. I love to have fun. I don't take myself too seriously. So being at the toy company, like, it was really easy to as an adult to like go and be able to do that because my silliness and being able to go out and getting excited about some of these ridiculous stuffed animals and things that we had would get other people excited and they would talk about it on the phone and they would tell other people about it. I also started like giving people free samples to take home to their kids. So some of these
mm,
salespeople on the phone, where they
mm,
normally wouldn't have any like actual interaction with these toys and things, they'd be like, "No, give some to your kid. See how your kid plays with it," and they'd be able to tell a lot more about the details and be able to make those sales. Because they'd be like, "Oh, my kid loves this one, but not this one, and here's why." And so they may have been a that one may have been cheaper, and so instead of buying these two toys, they're going to buy more of the more expensive one because they've already made that sale because they have personal experience. It's
mm.
always like I said, I tie it always back to, like, personal experience and building that value. I love I get people to buy in. That's how I can even get people to go backpacking with me in the summertime and live off of the land for an entire weekend, and then they get out there and they're like, "How did you convince me to do this, Karina?"
Oh, yeah,
Because you
this
have to
one,
cook all your own food over a stove and sleep on the ground, and they're like, "I can't believe I'm doing this." But yeah, that's
mm,
I just, I get people excited to do things with me. I like to make sure that things are fun, whether it be at work or whether it be school,
mm.
any of it. Like, yeah, that's you should never take yourself too seriously.
Oh, yeah, this one, just yesterday I was having a conversation with my sister. She has a
Mhm.
boutique shop, and she said like, sometimes what I do, she said like, okay, sometimes you know what I do. Tell me. And she said like, if there is some ladies that they come and they basically they say, what is the price, and sometimes they feel like, okay, I don't have that much amount. She will like, okay, no, no, take it, take it. I have made the profit in the other one. If she has sale,
Mhm.
sold something, and she calculates her mind saying that, oh, I have already made a profit, I can give this to her free. you know
Yep.
and I said, but that is not business, I told her. Then she said, no, they will come back.
Yep. They come
And I'll
back.
make yeah, and
It's
I'll
the
make the
experience
profit
nowadays
from.
with customers. People aren't just there to make a transaction anymore. They want that relationship, whether it be
Yeah.
in person, online, anywhere. Like that's
Mm,
we're relationship creators now more so than just marketers. That's what people a lot of times forget is,
mm,
and that's one of the things. That's why I love NBC so much. Like my job is literally to get people excited for sports and to tune in. So like we're just digital cheerleaders. We're over there being like, "Can
mm,
you believe football's coming? Oh my gosh, we're all gonna watch football. It's gonna be great." Or now the Olympics are coming. Like I'm already super excited for the Paris Olympics, and we're not even a year away yet. That's part of why I joined. I love the Olympics, whether it be figure skating, gymnastics, alpine skiing. I watch all of it. I watch the Paralympics. I'd love to see average people come out of their shells and do amazing things. And I get really excited for them. I'm the same way at work. We have really shy guys at work that every time I
mm,
come into the office, I always stop by and I talk to them. And now I've been at NBC for almost 2 years, and they're starting to come out of their shells. And I'm so excited to get to know these guys. One of them I
mm,
actually learned. Now he's actually from Guatemala. He's only been here in the States since he was a teenager, and I had no idea. I thought he was born and raised in LA. And now that I've gotten to know him, and it's taken 2 years because he's very quiet and very reserved and very sweet. But yeah, now he's this amazing guy, and I cannot wait to learn more about him. And it's the same way with our Olympians and our athletes. So I just love learning about people.
And
Mhm.
do you have some biases when it has with the Olympic Games? Like, let's say, oh, this guy has to win. Does that happen?
Um, Only for rhythmic gymnastics, and that's because my daughter was actually a competitive rhythmic gymnast until she went into high school. When she reached
Mm,
high school, they're like, "Okay, so you're at the age now where you get to train for the Olympics. So you either start going to school for 2 hours a day and training for the Olympics all the time, or you go and be a regular kid." And she chose to be a regular kid, but she had grown up with a lot of the same rhythmic gymnasts that are now representing Team USA and doing the best that Team USA has ever done in the Olympics.
mm,
So yeah, most people aren't impressed with 16th place for rhythmic gymnasts because our artistic gymnastics team is always getting the
mm,
gold. But what they don't know is 4 Olympics ago, we did not even have people representing the USA in
Mm.
rhythmic gymnastics. Like these girls have worked their butt off to not only like be qualified, but be the first time that they qualified. And I think they were only, and now it's what, 4 years later, or yeah, three Summer Olympics later, they almost made it into the finals. They were like 2 slots away. That's amazing, especially for such a big state. I will say, I love when the little bitty countries beat all the big ones. That's my favorite. Like when the Bahamas come out and they kick everybody's butt in a sport, I'm like, yes, the little guy won. Yes, that's my favorite. I
Yeah.
love when the little countries that you've never even heard of and you have to go and look it up on the map come out and win and start medaling in the Olympics.
Oh, yeah. Now I can recollect. Just few days back, I was watching maybe I don't know, Instagram or
Mhm,
YouTube video. There was a mother. There is a lady who's doing a gymnast in, I don't know, it's a sport event. Not, I don't know, it's basically a Olympic or not. But husband and wife sitting together, and the wife is like punching, maybe pushing her husband and all, and
mhm.
that becomes a very emotional thing to see, right? How
Oh
mothers
yeah,
are
I always
appreciating.
so I'm a schmuck when it comes to Olympic moms. So
Yeah.
any of the times that I see like P&G or NBC Sports or anybody post any of the moms of any of the Olympians or any of the sports, even with the Super Bowl, the mom that had the sons on both teams playing and had the
Mm.
jacket with both teams. Like I love to see moms cheering on their kids.
Uh,
I coached soccer for both my kids when they were little. And I've also been a mom on the sidelines when they moved up. When my son moved up to like a travel league, my daughter went on to dance and do gymnastics. And I can't coach. I can't even do a cartwheel. I
mhm.
probably can't even do a somersault. Um, but yeah, so I've been on both sides, and so I'm definitely a chump for moms that get excited cheering for their kids. So you will definitely see, especially during the Olympics, I do a ton of sharing of like the moms and the dads be like, "Oh my
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, like this even gets viral also whenever father and a mother, they're
god!"
having this. Yeah, a lot of these things basically connects with a lot of people around the
Mhm.
world. Uh, so if I go
I
back
mean, a lot of times,
to,
yeah, mom and dad work just as hard. They aren't doing the
mm,
sport, but they're out there driving them to and from the events. I had to be up at like 5 in the morning for gymnastics sometimes so that she could go and do workouts before school and then be
mm,
there in the carpool line an hour before school got out so that I could be one of the first ones in line to get her to the
mm,
gym in time to continue training. So, I mean, there's a lot of sacrifices those parents give up as well to see
mm,
it pay off. It's amazing. And I just want to hug them all. I keep
mm,
trying to convince work that I'm like, "This Olympics, can I please come down to Universal Studios so I can hug all the families and they're jumping up and down? Because like, I work
mm.
for you guys and I'm at home being like, "Yeah."
So you're a very proud mom,
I
right?
am.
And
Excuse me.
if I have to go back and say, uh, how was your childhood?
Oh, I'm sorry, I
What?
was
Yeah,
coughing
ma'am.
and totally missed
Uh,
your question.
yeah. Okay. So I can understand that. So I was. My question was, if we have to go back little to your memory lane, and if you can describe how was your childhood days when you were in school and all, what you used to do, what used to happen. Were you more inclined towards sports, or you were inclined towards something else? About your
Uh,
mom or your dad? Mm.
so my parents split up when I was young, and I actually spent a lot of time moving around during the early years of my school years. I lived in Kentucky and Georgia and different parts of Indiana. And it wasn't until probably what 4th grade we finally moved to Indianapolis, and my mom had remarried, and so that's when I stopped moving around. But yeah, the earlier years before that, I lived in lots of different states with lots of different family members and things. But yeah, and then probably 4th grade is when I discovered soccer, and I actually played soccer all the way through college until I blew out my knee. I was a goalkeeper, and funny enough, like so this hand I can spread my fingers
Mhm.
this far. That's as far as I can spread
Mm.
my fingers because I broke the bones right in here as a
Oh,
goalkeeper.
oh, okay. Yeah.
But yeah, so but soccer, I actually follow the Premier League more than like Major League Soccer here in the US. I prefer
Mm,
European soccer or European
mm.
football. So I like both the versions of football. Um,
Mm. Yeah,
but yeah,
yeah.
so that's
Initially,
part of how
yeah.
I enjoy my job as well. But funny enough, like most of us don't really play sports or didn't play sports. Like
Mm,
my boss and my other coworkers, most of them are just big sports fans. We have a
Mm,
couple of ladies even on our marketing team that they crack me up because they're in it for like the figure skating and the artistic ice dancing and the artistic
mm,
gymnastics and things. They don't care about the football and the
mm,
baseball and whatnot.
mm.
They're just like,
Yeah, you
uh,
are a sports person. Okay, from your childhood days, you're a sports person. Now
mm-hmm.
you have, I think, somehow, you know, do you believe in law of attraction?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I believe it's all came full circle. I've always been interested in how the
Mm,
media works. I have tons of books at home on on Walter Cronkite. I loved all the old news anchors of the early days in black and white TV when
mm,
like people that was the news. It's just so different than it is now. Like people just believed what was on TV. And I used to read about a lot of these old news anchors anyway, and the way like they built the trust with the entire country that they were the person that
mm,
these people depended on for their information. And I take a
mm,
lot of that to heart. And so to be able to come full circle and now work for these media companies has also been really cool. And the fact that it was in sports is even better. I
mm,
do also get a little bit of work from Fandango and Rotten Tomatoes, which is also fun to start dipping my toes a little bit in
mhm,
the movie side. Because I have a son that loves video games, loves going to the movies and stuff,
mm,
and so to be able to tell him like I got to work on this for Fandango, but now that
mhm.
this new movie came out, actually makes me cool for a 17-year-old boy.
You know, that's what I'm just trying to, understand. Like, you you have some inclination towards your sports, right? So I have
Mhm,
certain inclination now, and with the when we learn, go to school, get the career. Sometimes what happens is our line happen. Sometimes we go in a different line, right?
mhm.
But somehow it again, if it merges back together, then it becomes very exciting, right?
Definitely. So I went to school actually for computer science, and started out as
Mm,
a DBA.
mm,
It's really funny because I freak out a lot of people being on the email side because I'm really good at writing SQL and I can write it really quickly and I can write it on a screen. But it's because most people don't know that before I was at ExactTarget, I spent my time in
mhm,
AS400 doing basically data cleaning. So my job was all day
mm,
long to just write queries to look for data anomalies and clean them up in a database.
mm,
It's really paid off because that's the same thing that you do basically to create segments and look at data now on the CRM side. So I'd
mm,
actually been trained early on looking for mistakes as anomalies to now be able to identify anomalies on the CRM data, which
mm,
has really paid off well. At the time, I hated that job.
mm,
I hated AS400. I would never go back to JD Edwards or AS400. But now it's really helped develop my skills on the other side, and I've been able to share that and teach others on my
mm.
teams the same skills. So they can go
Yeah.
to school and do a lot of the email piece and learn that now in marketing, but you still have to go over and be a DBA to learn all the SQL skills. And so that piece
Mm,
hasn't quite crossed over when it comes to the kind of marketing technology degrees that are out now.
mm.
But yeah, I never thought at any time when I was getting my computer science degree that I would be doing what I am now. And then a
Me
lot of
too.
what I did instead was just I listened. I fortunately had a lot of really good clients too while I was at ExactTarget, but I've always listened and asked a lot of questions. And so that's what's kind of put me in the position now that I'm in is that I learned a lot. I'd take notes. I'd kind of watch for trends across all the different industries that I've worked in. And so now I take all of that and bring it into the sports side. So part of why I was brought into sports was that I had a retail background and they are trying to switch more from kind of the way that they approach things as a media company to more like retail. So that they're actually doing like segmentations and targeting, and they even starting to dip their toes in like AI to give people the
Mm,
type of articles and things that they want. So it's changing the mindset of how this company kind of works on the marketing side to be more like a retailer, but without selling anything. So it's actually been a fun
mm.
challenge for me too, because I was a retailer who was tasked with selling things. And so now the challenge
Mm.
is to take what I've learned and do it over here and then figure out ways to be able to track it for success when there's no money tied to it.
Yeah, yeah. I also come like I also have this computer science background, and the same like in India, it is a extensive study that happens. We
Mhm,
study more than 40, 50 subjects in 3 years.
mhm.
So
Wow, that's
yeah,
yeah.
and semester every 6 months.
Mhm,
So 3 years semester means say 12 years. No,
mhm,
12. You'll get 12 results. Okay,
mhm,
and 12 results in when you do the BTech. So you just understand three. Okay, three 6, 6, 12. Yeah. So if I have to show somebody a result, I have to show 12 scorecards, right?
Mhm.
So we also did all this extensive. Like I was also very interested with acid properties that used to happen in the transaction. Okay,
Mhm.
I was very interesting with the banker's algorithm. That is how the
Mhm.
starvation happens, how those process and all. But nowadays, where that has gone, I'm I always feel like, okay, someday maybe I'll be learning that too, implementing. I love implementing those things there. But with automation and everything, it has gone somewhere else. Yeah.
Good for you. There you go.
It.
Are we back?
Uh, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I had actually written this also about this open rate increase by 115%, where you clean the subscribers. Yeah, I have noted that one. I I have a very good nowadays pointers that I write. Okay. Mm, let's go back to the exact target days.
Mhm.
Okay. So what I see, what you say is, during your exact target days, you were a college graduate, right? And
Yes.
then you got recruited to exact target as an, maybe that was an intern, right? And this
Yes.
was on a rotational opportunity to be rotated through different phases there. I think you
Yes.
said it's a
So
4 phase.
yeah, ExactTarget had this really cool program that was called the Catapult program. So what you got to
Mm.
do was, and there's actually a ton of tech companies that have now adopted this program, including NBC, which I'm really happy about because it's been 16 years, I guess, since I did this program. But yeah, so you came into the company as an intern after you graduated. You tried out three different departments for 6 weeks at a time. And then you met with those three managers to see where you made the most impact within the company or where they thought you could make the most impact within the company. And then they would offer you a full time. Well, if they thought you could make an impact within the company, then they offered you a full time job, which is how I became release manager.
Mm.
That's the area. So I actually got to try out the marketing side of ExactTarget. I did the not business account management side. Back when there were only three people in account management for ExactTarget when they were teeny tiny, and then I also worked on the product side since I came from a computer science background.
Yeah.
Um, the reason I ended up in the marketing one was I actually had some video experience. So I had edited a couple of
Mm.
videos in college for our club and for a couple other things for projects in some of my elective classes. And at the time,
Mm.
they needed somebody who could actually make some promotional videos for ExactTarget. And so that's how I ended up in marketing and two tech rotations. Is that my two tech ones were the ones I was supposed to be in. They ended up taking one of my tech rotations out because they just needed somebody with video experience. And I went, well, I mean, I have some, but that's actually how I ended up making the very first ever Connections opening video. And then it became a whole thing at Connections and Dreamforce where they have like these big opening videos and stuff. But yeah, I made a music video because they had commissioned a band to write an email marketing song. And then I made the music video to go with it. And that's how we kicked off the very first Connections back in
Mm.
2008 in Indianapolis
That
with a
regarding
whole
the
2,000 people that we were so excited we even got 2,000. We weren't sure anybody was going to come. And then the building was full and we were all standing there like, oh my God, we did it.
Mm.
And now
Uh,
there's 100,000 people that come to Dreamforce and like 30,000 that come to Connections and to watch how big it's grown. I'm like, you guys have no idea how scared we were that first year. We were worried that like 50 people were going to show up and it might be our parents.
yeah. Uh, yeah, I was going through that video also. That subscribe
Mhm.
that is a subscriber consent or something was there, right?
Yep.
The
Yeah, and the
person is
subscribers
driving the
rule.
car and all,
Yep.
right? Yeah, I
Yep.
watched that video.
Yep. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
made that for the very first Connections in 2008. So
Mm.
my kids are both in there, and I'm in there about 6 times because anytime that they wanted some type of shot that I couldn't get anybody else to do, they'd be like, "Okay, you do it. You're the intern." I was like, "But I don't want to." So that is the most you will ever see me on camera because I am normally behind the camera. As a mom, I'm always taking the pictures and
Mm.
the videos, and even at work, like I'm the one that I'm going, guys, stand together. I'll take your picture at
Mm.
this group event. And they're like, no, you come too. Last time I was at NBC Sports, actually, I got our business operations lady or building operations lady to take our whole team on a tour because she had
Yeah.
taken me on this tour when I first came in that I had gotten arranged from one of the leadership people that they were like, no, you have to take a tour from this lady because she is the best. and she let me hold an Emmy from the Olympics coverage. And I got to see some of the studios where I actually got to go in and like stand behind the table for Sunday Night Football. And so
Mm.
the next time I came to town, I took my whole team and we did that same tour, and they got to have
Mm.
that same experience. And I was taking all their pictures holding the Emmy. So I don't have a picture, or
Mm.
no, I do have a picture of me taking the Emmy because they made me finally do it. But yeah, I was like, no, it's fine. I just have to take
Mm.
everyone else's photo.
Nowadays, yeah, nowadays I have understood how to edit and add video
Mhm.
for pictures as well. Please do send me those pictures. I want to in this one. I want to add those pictures here as well. Okay. I'm excited nowadays. Like somebody saying of pictures and all, I said, okay,
Mhm.
let me search this picture. I want to add it now because I understood how to edit few things. Though I'm not that
Mhm.
techy, but I love
Oh, I can send you a
nowadays.
few
I
fun
love
ones.
this. Yeah.
My favorite is when
Uh,
I get to meet the Olympians when they come in. Because,
mm,
like I said, I just get so excited because they're just normal people until they suddenly are on TV because they're really good at the sport that
uh,
most people don't care about except every 4 years. So I try and
yeah,
remember
yeah.
who is who, and especially if they're walking through the
Uh,
building, I try and make sure that take a moment to tell them how amazing they are and how I appreciate their
yeah.
hard work.
Obviously, even if I have to see this marketing cloud people here, like
Hmm.
you, Gina, and all, there are a lot of people who have still I'm searching and but it will
Hmm.
not be in my mind. Okay, it is a long process, right? So a lot of people say, Sasi, did you call this person? I like give me the name. I want to see. Okay, but give me time. That time also maybe
Yep.
I have to so that happens. But coming back to this exact target. Okay.
Hmm.
I saw like in ExactTarget, you have mentioned ASP.NET Visual Studio team and all. There's a mention. What used to happen in this? This backend was it was developed by using ASP.NET ExactTarget.
Yeah. So way back when, well, actually, even now, there's still some .NET pieces within ExactTarget. But yeah, I didn't do so much of the coding, but knowing all those programming languages from my computer science degree, I was able to then at least understand what the developers were talking about. As release manager, my job was again to be the liaison between tech
Mm.
and marketing. So my job, I would go in and I'd say, okay, developer A, we have this project. Where are you on it? And then they go on a long spiel about blah 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 and scope creep and blah 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 and this other QAing issue. So I have to understand what they're talking about developer wise. So then I can go
Mm.
over here and go to the marketer and be like, it's broken. It'll be done in 2 weeks, but he said it's broken and it's not done yet. But yeah, because they never just go, it's broken and here's why. As a
Mm.
developer, they want to tell you what they've been working on. And so that
Mm.
was also part of my job was to listen to what they'd been working on. And that's part of why I still am very interested in still listen to what people are working on and then take back how it's contributed is because that was my very first job was to listen to what people were working on that contributed back to our tool and then take it over to
Mm.
marketing because once it was working my other job was to then go through and take out key bullet points that then we send over to marketing which are the release notes that you all get nowadays. So that was my job was to create those release notes and send them over to marketing back in 2007 and 8.
Mm.
So way back when. I did not write the documentation though. If you don't like the Salesforce
Mm.
documentation, even from back then, that wasn't me. There were only like two people that wrote documentation for ExactTarget for like 10 years. And that poor lady and her rock star other two people, like they were amazing. They did the best that they could, but they were very short staffed. And I think it's
Mm.
probably still that way. But yeah, that was my job was
Mm.
to come up with all those key bullet points for the release. So then they could do the webinars and the release notes and all of those that were customer facing.
Mm. So I think Greek Adam was like, yeah, documentation, So I'll say, Adam, yeah, you have, Corrina, you can tell her she's the one. Okay. Uh, so, mm, you know, you have a husband who was a technical there, right? Technical architect, and you are also one of the technical person there. Though you are doing success manager and all. Do you sometimes used to have a conflict saying, no, this will be done this way. No, this is technically correct. You say, no, this is technically. Do this kind of argument that do happen between you and your husband?
It's not so much that now, it's more so I would say, like, I would have things that I would write and they wouldn't come out the way that I wanted them to. And I'd be like, why did you make this stupid tool work this way instead of this way? And he was like, because you're not the only customer that needs to use it. And then when we actually asked everyone out of 1,000 people, only like 100 of you use it that way, honey. So a lot of it was more like, why did you develop this tool custom for me? He'd be like, because you aren't the biggest customer. Uh,
That's why you.
but,
That's
but
why
yeah,
you
even
say
now,
that he.
he
That's
he
why you
since he
say.
doesn't get to work on the UI side, he'll be like, nope. Uh, it's like it's not me
Hmm.
anymore. So, but yeah, that was especially Journey Builder. When Journey Builder was new, there would be a lot of me like yelling at him, be like, "This tool sucks," and he'd be like, "You're using it wrong."
I want to meet him actually because yeah, as you said, right, he. If I remember correctly, you said he's one of the smartest person that you have ever met, right?
Yep,
That's what you said.
he is. He
He
yeah,
is.
he keeps me on my toes all the time, and there's not too many people that I can sit and like have a conversation with, and it's not even like just technology. He's gone and like learned other things that are really interesting. Like he took a class at Purdue, all of that was all about wine aficionado stuff. I see. I'm clearly don't drink wine, but like he knows some guy's name that we can drop and go to Napa Valley and get like a special tour at Mondavi, and he can tell you all about wines and like where they come from and special things. And I mean, it's amazing that he knows all this. Um, and I'm
Gives
like, yeah,
you.
this wine tastes really good.
Uh, so he gives you all the details, like every details when he speaks to you. I'll ask this question again. What I was saying is, so he is the one who basically giving you all the details, saying, uh, oh, I remember, this guy, Tony, it's not Tony Robbins. Okay, when he was discussing like about male and a female, or says ladies and gentlemen, right, or how they say it. So it's like ladies are more into detailing, going into detail, saying that this happened, this there is this, and a lot of going into details. Even uh, if they have to describe a lady what she was wearing, they will say, oh, she was wearing pink this one, and this is a blue one, and this is so guys are not that way. That what he used to say. But your husband is detailing that I'm getting quite interesting.
I would say we are a happy balance between the two of us. We both have attention to detail with certain things, and we both have not attention to detail to certain
Mhm.
things. So we make a good couple together and kind of round each other out. Even back at ExactTarget, like I guess he was very standoffish, and a lot of ladies at the office were kind of scared of him. And then he and I started dating, and some of those ladies came up and they're like, "Your husband's so nice, and I had no idea. I used to be so scared of him." And I was like, "No, he just comes off that way. He's actually a really nice guy." And there were times where even like I kind of helped coach him on like approaching people a different way and not being so much like the genius developer hiding in the dark office just coding all hours of the day and coming and going. Um, and at the same time, like he helped me not be so chatty sometimes in meetings, and I would be sitting over there and he'd be like kind of like cut it off, honey. So yeah, there's times like that yeah, we kind of help each other, on professionally, personally, lots of ways that we round each other out really well. We make a good couple because of that. We're not exactly the same. I think I'd be bored with somebody actually I'd probably be annoyed with somebody exactly like me because he deals with me doing things on a whim a lot. Like he
I
actually doesn't come
actually.
backpacking with
Uh,
me. So like he grew up in Chicago in the suburbs, and I grew up on a farm in Kentucky and southern Indiana. So he very much is
oh.
not outdoorsy like I am, but he deals with me just taking off into the woods for a weekend at a time, where all he can do is contact me via satellite radio.
you know, are you saying that opposite attracts?
I definitely think so, or at least for me. Like I said,
Mm.
I don't think I could deal with somebody like me. We'd never be together because we'd all be off doing our own things. Because yeah, he lets me go off and adventure. Last week I was no 2 weeks ago. Whenever like I went to DC and I brought Jenna along, and he wasn't upset because I was Jenna. Now that she's a freelancer, I was like, hey, I'm going to the Email Experience Council and I have an extra bed in my hotel room. Like I could bring my husband, but I know that you need to get some more contracts in. I was like, how about you come with me instead? And my husband wasn't upset. Some men or even women would be like, I can't believe as your significant other that you're not going to pick me first. But he knows that like I want to help people, and that's one of the things I do. At one point, I even was like, "Hey, honey," during COVID, we started fostering dogs. I didn't even ask him. I just started bringing home puppies and giving them to loving families and having because it worked for service hours for my kids. So that's where I say like he just kind of I couldn't there couldn't be two of us. Our house would just be insane. We get nothing done. So
Yeah, for me, you know, if my girlfriend has to, ignore me, then I'm
mhm,
not going to tolerate anymore. Like, if she's going to a party with her friends and if she ignores, she says, if she doesn't invite me, I'll like, oh, this not going to last long. But that's what I'm trying to understand. Okay,
mhm.
so
Yeah, we just
what is the
we both have kind of built. We're both our own people, but we come together and we get along really well. That's why I love him so much. And like, yeah, he actually isn't even with me this weekend for Universal Studios. He's at home taking care of the dogs and doing his thing. And since, like I said, he had unfortunately been part of the tech layoffs. And so I was supportive. I was like, okay, you can stay home and you can do interviews and that kind of thing. I was like, we're still going to go to Universal though, because,
Mm,
the family's not just going to stop being like having fun because we only have one of
mm,
us working right now. And he was fine with
mm,
that. And so I'm down here with the kids and doing our thing. And my son was in the marching band parade here at Universal Studios and we supported him. And we've
mm,
gotten to have fun and I keep checking back in with him. And then once he's working again, like he and I will go and do something without the kids. And but yeah, we go and we do our own trips with our friends, and then we come back together and we do our own and we do fun things together. And
mm.
but yeah,
Yeah,
I think it makes it.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't like being codependent on anybody, and it's nice that he understands that. Fortunately, being from Chicago, he's used to strong, independent women, which is
Mm.
what I was
No,
or am,
I
I
don't
guess.
think.
Still,
Yeah, I don't think males I say this men. Men do not feel like this dependence or codependent thing. Basically, what I understand, whatever though I am very might be very junior, but what I feel till now, what I've understood is, if a man is always happy if they see their partner being happy, and if they're happy, then they're happy. Okay, so partner
that's the same
men
way I
will
approach
always,
it too. Is
yeah. So
Yeah, I mean that's
they
yeah.
will,
As long as we're both happy, we don't have to be happy together all the time. As long as we're like happy
mm,
being people and doing things and like feel like our lives are fulfilled and like
yeah,
that's what makes me happy. I love seeing him succeed whether I'm there or not. He likes seeing me
mm,
succeed whether he's there or not. And then we
yeah,
love to both watch our kids succeed. So
yeah,
like yeah.
yeah. No, what I'm trying to say is like from the men's perspective, because
Mhm, mhm,
so what I've seen is, okay, like a lot of people they quote like, okay, oh, what men's like, okay, in a relationship, for men is their partner has to be happy, no matter what the other people have to say. If the partner is not happy, okay, no, he may try a lot of things, okay. If he see the partner is not happy, then the person will the men, he can't stay longer. He will be like
mhm,
going back, saying that no, now I am not able to make the other person, my partner, happy. So I don't have that caliber or the characteristics to make the person happy. So he will
mhm,
push himself back. So the ladies has to understand that if you start
mhm,
becoming happy, your partner is going to be happy as
mhm.
long as you're happy. So that is what I have understood. Maybe I'm very junior, but this is what I have
You
understood.
got to make sure that you're happy though too. Don't just sacrifice your happiness to make sure that your partner is happy because then
Yes,
she won't be
obviously.
happy. It's a full circle because that's yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, if you're happy because she's happy, that's still like you have to have your own happiness. So one of my favorite podcasts that I listen to is actually a puppeteer for them, or sorry, a Muppeteer because the Muppets aren't puppets; they're Muppets.
mm,
And that's one of the things he always asks people at the end of his interview is what they do outside of the Muppets as a project that's just their own that makes them feel fulfilled because that is but like even for work for relationships for everything you can't just go all in on that and make that like what makes you happy you have to have something of your own that fulfills you whether it be art music running weightlifting anything there's got to be that thing that fulfills you outside of some other person that's just your own
mm.
and so that's don't lose yourself would be my advice.
Yeah, obviously, to make somebody happy, you can't become sad, right?
Yep.
That is true. But the other part, the other area, like you
Mhm.
have to be happy. You should not be
Yep.
like pleasing someone and you
Mhm.
becoming sad. That is not the
Mhm.
way. But yeah, I think we are going to the relationship side of marketing cloud. So let's go back to that's what let's go back to marketing cloud. Our people, yeah, this is what happens with me. You know, I go somewhere else. Okay, so you're in the first tagline that you have written. Okay, you have written that award-winning conference presenting is like award-winning for conference presenting. Is that if I
No,
understood?
so that was just being cheeky. So I've won a couple of awards for some of my marketing
Mhm.
programs. The media most recent would be back in 2019 or 2020. I feel terrible. I can't remember which one. Oh, yeah. So I won an award at Media Post in 2019 or 2020 during COVID. Crocs shoes here in the States were giving away shoes to free Crocs for nurses. And so Riken decided they wanted to do something for first responders as well. And they only gave me 48 hours to build an entire giveaway program where we could actually like validate that people were nurses in order to give them free shoes as well. And so
Mm,
that's the one that I won an award for because basically there were two of us within the company that they were like, hey, we want to do a giveaway. And it was up to the two of us to get it done, basically scoped out and done in 48 hours. And
mm,
so we actually ended up having, it was so successful that we had to close down the form early because we ran out of supplies or we ran out of
mhm.
stock. And so that was the one that I won an award for most recently.
Mm,
And then yeah, I've been doing conference presenting for a long time. Every company that I work for, I always make sure that one of the stipulations when I come to work for them is that I can go and present at conferences because I very much believe that it's not fair to silo what you're doing. It's
mm,
very hard to learn Marketing Cloud, and it's even harder to learn Marketing Cloud when people aren't actually out there telling you how they did it.
mm,
Even Salesforce is very good at selling you the technology, but they're not very good at actually telling you like how people actually built these magic things that they're presenting
mm,
as like an omni-channel experience for a customer. And so I very much believe that since I've been in this for so long, part of my job is to start teaching others how to do it. I'm not going to be doing this forever.
mm.
The average email career is really only 5 to 7 years. And I've been doing this for 16 years, which means that I've been doing this for three email marketers, basically, worth of years. And so I want to make sure that I'm also training up and hiring the best people. But the only way I can do that is to go out and share my knowledge. You can't go to school for email
Mm,
marketing. So you're not going to learn Salesforce email marketing by going to college. And there's hundreds of ESPs out there anyway. There's no way they could just teach you one ESP. The most they can do is
mm,
kind of teach you email marketing strategy. And so I go to colleges and I actually work with some of the school colleges that have Salesforce programs for their students to be able to start learning it. And I come in and I teach them email strategy. I'll even show them a lot of times what I do within Marketing Cloud and then show them free ESPs so they can start learning email marketing.
mm,
Um, I even bring in interns as well in addition
mm,
to like my conference stuff and my college stuff. So I have a young lady actually from India. She's only been here, I think, a little over maybe actually not even a year yet. I think she's getting her master's at in San Francisco, but she has email marketing experience already and some analytics experience. And so I scooped her up and I'm like, nope, you're going to come over here to NBC Sports and you're going to spend the summer with me learning how to do this. And I'm going to show you how cool my job is so you want to come back here and work
mm.
because that's what I feel like part of my job is now is to go out and start educating others and building up the skills of young people or in Star Wars, the younglings. I got to teach the younglings how to do what we do here because you can't get a degree in it. And really just
Yeah.
recruiting because that's what I've found is every time I go to these colleges, a lot of these kids are like, I didn't even know your job was a job or like a thing. And this sounds
Mm,
cool. I was like, it is cool. I get to do
mm,
fun stuff. Like I get to go and hang out with the marketing team, but I don't have to do the marketing stuff with like the reporting and the graphic design and the logo stuff. I'm just taking their cool ideas and their designs and I'm putting them into the internet and making them come together and work flawlessly. Like I'm basically the magic gift guy.
mm,
Is what I
mm.
say. Is that's like
Yeah.
marketing comes up with the idea, they do all the designs, and they come to me and they're like, "Okay, how are you going to make this happen?" Because we're really excited to see it, and that's how like NBC ended up with SMS. Is they were like, it would be really cool to be able to contact people in more than just email. And we don't have access to the app. That's a different team as of right now that oversees the app. So I was like, well, why don't we do SMS? Like all the young people are on their phones, and I can tell you, my two teenagers do not check their email. Every time that I ask them anything about email marketing stuff, they're like, "Ew, mom, no. Who does email?" I'm like, "Well,
Uh,
fine. Then I'm gonna figure out how to get to you guys.
uh,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
I
be
think
relevant to my own children, and then that's when I'll be successful as a marketer." And the
Uh,
same for TV. They actually, when we did the Super Gold Sunday giveaway last year on the first
mm,
time in history where the Super Bowl and the Olympics had been on TV for the same time,
mm,
they were like, "We've always wanted to do something cool, and now we have the opportunity." And I was like, and they wanted to do a giveaway, and I went, "Well, why don't we do QR codes and to a landing page where they can fill out and submit for a giveaway?" And they're like, "We've never been on TV before for something like that." And so we actually, since I came to NBC, it was the first time they've actually been on TV for an acquisition campaign. And now we've
mm,
done it twice, and we plan on doing it again for the upcoming Olympics and the next football season because it was so successful. The first time we did it, we got more subscribers in the one day during the 12 hours that we had the different QR codes and giveaway
mm,
pieces online than we had for acquisitions for all of 2018.
mm. It's interesting. Yeah, you see, for me, even when I was going through your profile also, okay, I was like, uh, found like this is everything for me was like interesting. Even like and the top, if you call it as a what you say when you make some food and the toppings, right? So your
Mhm.
toppings is there. You are from the exact target, so
Yep.
that is right. So. Mm, you know I love the conversation, like when I basically this is what I do, right? This is what I'm
Mhm.
loving, learning from people what they are doing, how they are thinking, and sometimes obviously I ask whatever that comes in my head, like in the conversation. I don't basically say no, I'm not going to ask this, or if it comes I can't stop it. So a lot of people
Mhm.
find it, "Sasi, why you're asking this controversial question?" Okay. And like, no, that came to my mind. That's why I'm asking. It's up to you whether you want to answer it or not. It's up to you,
Mhm.
right? So
I get
this
easily
keeps
insulted
on
with
happening.
controversial questions. I was raised in a house where my mom was a hippie in the 70s, and my stepdad fought in Vietnam as an Army Ranger. So one was
Mm,
super strict and tight, and one was very, like, just kind of like me,
mm.
just free and does her own thing. So, like, between
Yeah.
the two, there was lots of controversy all the time on disagreeing
Okay.
values and opinions and things. So, I've seen
Yeah.
it. I also come from the Midwest, which is very conservative, and now I live in a very not conservative state of Colorado. So, I mean, like, it's I'm like I said, I'm just yeah, I go
Uh,
slow. It takes a lot. You're most likely to insult me by saying something about my children than like asking me a question.
uh, Maybe. See, I think, yeah, this point that just hit me was maybe the environment that
Mhm,
what the people might be thinking it controversial, right?
mhm,
For me, yeah, I come from a different place called Darjeeling, where
mhm,
we give a damn with what people have to think. We'll do what we like, and we keep on
mhm,
doing that, right? So. Oh, maybe, yeah. Now I'll think. So if somebody's saying maybe the environment is the factor.
mhm,
So mm, if I ask you this, okay,
mhm.
uh, w- what mistakes that you feel like, okay, I did this one was a very big mistake in my life.
Let's see here. So I would say on a personal level, I'm going to be honest here, and I stayed at ExactTarget too long. That was probably one of my biggest mistakes. As a mom, my kids were 3 and 4, and I went to pick up my kids from the babysitter one day, and this is at the time when ExactTarget was really growing. So we were asked to work like 60 to 70 hours a week. It was before I
Mm,
was married to my husband, so I was still a single mom.
mm,
Um, and I came home and I went to pick up my kids, and one of my kids called the babysitter mommy. And I was like,
mm,
nope, we're done here. No more. I'm
mm,
mommy. I'm clearly gone too much.
mm,
And so that is how I decided to start my own company. I wish I would have done it sooner. There were key points, even when my kids were little, that I wish I would have been there for that I wasn't. And I'm also not judging any women that decide that they want to do their career because my
mm,
mom is an amazing woman. She was the first female salesperson at her company. She kicked ass, but she didn't get to be home as much as she wanted. I still love my mom to death. I don't hold it against her. I learned a lot from her. I even used to help her, like, we knew she was a single mom, so we helped her with a lot of that. And so we like would sort papers. I would do filing for her back when everything
mm,
was still the paper version and not digital like it is now, to where you just throw it in a
mm,
digital
mm,
folder. But we did stuff like that so that we still had the time for her. I decided though that I wanted to be a little closer to my kids. I will say my mom never missed a soccer game though. She did,
mm,
like, she put the line in the sand. There were times where she was maybe a little late, but she got there.
mm,
And I'm going to give her that because, like, it was hard in the 80s and the 90s as a woman. So I'm not going to hold that against her, even though I chose to be at home because, yeah, like everyone does their own thing. You don't want to have kids? You can still be my best friend.
Mm.
Jenna is an example. And she still supports me for stuff for my
Mm.
kids. I'm not going to judge you. I don't care that you didn't have kids. I don't care that you have 20 kids. I mean, I'm going to be
Mm.
like, how are you awake? How are your legs still on? But I mean, like, I'm not going to judge you. Because everybody like chooses their own things. And that's one of the
Mm.
reasons that I think I have so many friends that I do and so many different kinds of friends is because I don't judge and I'm very open and try and like be
Mm.
very inclusive. I'm the same for my team as well, which is why I have like a guy from Guatemala on my team that I had no idea. I thought he was from LA, and now I have a young lady from India, and I have another young woman that's from New Jersey. Like we're from all over. I'm from Colorado and Kentucky. Like
Mm.
um, everybody has something special about them, and that's what I try and
Yeah,
find within everybody. And I
true.
try and be supportive. I would say career wise, my biggest mistake is back when I was still at ExactTarget and was rushing. Was just let's see, what was it? I was supposed to do a coupon code that was supposed to be unique for everyone at Speedway gas
Mm.
stations here in the States. I was rushing. I put in my test coupon code that was just mine, and I accidentally sent out the same email to over a million people with the one
Mm.
singular coupon code that everybody could use. And I didn't catch it. And so it wasn't until people started calling in from the different gas station stores, and I got a lot of trouble for that one.
Mm.
And really, it was I committed to too much at work.
Mm.
So what I'm trying to say is don't be afraid to set boundaries. If your boss is upset because you're setting a boundary, maybe that's not the boss for you, or maybe they're expecting too much.
Mm.
But I'm hoping that, especially with what's been going on with COVID, because I think
Mm.
even myself, I changed a lot as a manager during the time, and I've been a lot more flexible. So make sure that wherever you are, that they're comfortable with your boundaries. If you feel like it's taking on too much, be honest with your boss, because if it's too much and you feel like you're going to make a mistake as a boss now, like I'd rather know that and be able to get you some extra help or find someone else to do it
Yeah.
than chance that mistake.
Yeah.
And so I wish I would have advocated and spoken up more for myself. Part of that was also being a female in the Midwest. Like a lot of women back in even the early 2000s, I don't know when they would bow down to the men. Like the men were always right. I was even told at ExactTarget, like, it's going to be really hard for you to be successful as a woman because you're very headstrong and outspoken. And at least here in
Mm.
Indiana, like, men want you to say, yes, sir, thank you, I'm going to go do this. They don't want you to talk back. No mask what.
No, see,
um,
it's not about men and women. Okay, it's
mhm,
not men and women. If you are blunt and open, a lot of people is going to perceive that way. For me, I'm blunt and open actually.
mhm,
Okay, so I know, like, even if you be it in some meeting, okay,
mhm,
I don't care who the person is. And if he's normally, I give an example. Like this example is, we are there. Okay, there are 5, 10 people. We are having a meeting, okay, and we are discussing about London airport,
mhm,
and there are other people, and they are talking about Washington DC. Okay, then I'll say like no. Then I jump there and say no. We are discussing London airport. Okay, so and the other people will say no, Sasi. Sometimes though you don't like, maybe listen and say yes. I'm like no, no. I don't want to waste this time.
mhm.
I'm giving my time to discuss this, so let's discuss this. So I'm very blunt, and even this conversation, if you go and see, I have
And it
open with
wasn't so much like
and
meeting wise. So I would say when I was young, because a lot of any of the developers, I say a lot of the men because at the time at ExactTarget there were only like 3 female developers in the whole product team. So I'm not trying to like man hate. It's just
mm,
it was majority of men. But it wasn't so much like saying those kind of things, but a lot of times like when I would come as release manager and some of them would be stressed and I would have to ask for statuses, they would snap at me or yell at me and it would be more like, excuse me, just because I'm female doesn't mean I get yelled at. And so it was pieces like that, more like you need to treat everyone with respect. I understand that you're stressed, but that's not how you treat a person. I don't care if you're a developer. I don't care if you're the CEO. Like, you just don't talk to people that way. And it'd be things like
mm.
that. They'd be like, "Excuse me, 21-year-old little girl. Like, you don't tell me how to talk to people."
Yeah, yeah.
It'd
Still
be like
there
me
is,
telling
yeah.
my dad, be like, "Dad, you don't talk to people that way. That's not like how our kids now correct us all the time and like,
Mm,
"That's not what you say," or "That's not what that means."
maybe
Yeah,
yeah.
I was debating
This
between just,
yeah.
yeah, talking back and saying, "No, you talk to me nicely and with respect, or I'm not gonna spend time with you." And they'd be like,
Mm.
excuse me, you're the baby here." So,
Maybe I don't know. I haven't encountered such things, but yeah, I have listened
mhm,
to these things like where the male technical guy. That's what like when I was listening to when I asked advice from Gina, she was talking
mhm,
to the women intake only, and she's saying, don't listen to the naysayers, and
mhm,
you are equal. So then I was like, it's a very beautiful thing, but I didn't encounter with me. But maybe it
mhm.
happens somewhere else. But it do happen. Which
Yep.
I have seen. I have listened
Mhm,
and I have seen this. But with my experience, because I'm like very blunt. I don't listen to this guy if they say come here.
mhm.
I'm going to be whoever is how we are talking this.
Yep.
I'm also the same person.
I will
I
say I love how jobs have evolved in the past like 20 years, for both men and women, mainly for young people. So when I came in and I was a young person, you got paid crap, you got treated like crap. You're an intern, you're lucky you got paid at all. Now we give interns benefits. We pay them. We give them opportunities to continue to work for us. Even like my young employees that I have, we have training programs to teach them how to be a great employee. We didn't have any of that when I was young. We just had people, like I said, snapping at you when they were having a bad day, and you kind of be like, I think this is how it's supposed to be. Now, like, we empower people and we teach respect across the company. We have all these diversity and inclusion groups. Like, that was not a thing in the 90s and the early 2000s when I started working. And I love that the people coming into the job force now have all the support that we didn't have, because it was rough as an intern. And there were times where I was like, do I really want to be in the tech field? They seem kind of mean. Um,
But yeah,
but yeah,
actually,
that's.
maybe actually we are from India,
Mhm,
so Indian people actually they don't have to learn any diversity because we are
mhm,
already diverse in like
mhm,
sometimes back they said, then I was like, you know, I was in school, okay, uh, we, we used to have a different set of people. Like there will be Sikh, Muslims, and everyone. Okay, and
mhm,
we don't have to like, oh, he's Muslim, oh, he's Sikh. No, we were never taught. We were like friends
mhm,
and enjoying. You know, so maybe we come from that place where
mhm.
we don't have to teach drivers. It's
Yep. That's part of why I
ingrained
wanna
already.
visit India someday. It's on my bucket list.
Yeah.
Along with
If
going to
you,
an
yeah.
Indian wedding, because every time I have a couple of Indian friends that
Oh,
always go back to India for weddings. I'm like, "Can I just come once? Your dresses are so pretty."
yeah. I'll say you will enjoy the most, okay? Because
Mhm,
you'll see a total different thing, okay?
mhm,
Uh, every wild in the, you'll see every angle of the side when you go to a wedding,
mhm,
okay? You'll see every.
mhm,
I'll say when we discussed here with some of our friends in Barcelona, they were
mhm,
like, seriously? I'll say, yeah, seriously. It's a very, and
mhm.
it will
It's
not
like a
be in city.
5-day event too. Like, it's not just you go and you
Yeah.
show up for an afternoon and they get married and you drink. Like, it's an
Mm.
event. It's a celebration, and that's I'm like, as you can tell, like, I love to celebrate things. I love
Yeah.
to cheer people on. So the idea,
Mm.
and I love weddings. So like a 5-day long wedding where we're just celebrating a families coming together and stuff. That really like and this is like I said, it's so pretty too. Like, and I just in
Yeah.
general want to visit India because of the diversity and the fact that like nobody noticed. Like, I just want to go to parts of the world where it's, because I
Mm.
grew up in Kentucky and Southern Indiana. I
Mm.
mean, it's very much like what you see unfortunately in the news for the the uneducated people making poor choices over here. So I've
Mm.
seen a little bit of both. And yeah, like I've fortunately moved out of that kind of area, and I've try and become a more diverse. And my family was never that way. We just happened to be that's where we were all born. And when you're in the poorer parts of the country, it's hard to get out. But we finally did. And so now I want to see the rest of the world. We're like, that's not a thing. Like, they just don't care, because yeah, that's
Right.
how it should be everywhere. Like, I don't
Yeah.
care what color you are. I don't care what gender you are. I don't care if you're not a gender. Like, if you're
Mm.
a good person, I want you to be my friend. That's all that
Yeah.
matters.
You'll see everything like if you go to the this wedding, and
Mhm,
there is one ceremony that happens with the transgenders will come and
mhm,
give your blessings, okay. You'll see everything that will be, and I'll say if you get an opportunity, it will be better going to a town rather that
mhm,
marriage ceremony happening in a city, Okay,
Mhm.
in the town you'll see like it will be an amazing one. You'll
Mhm.
see crazy stuffs also. Sometimes you'll say
Mhm.
what's going on, but sometimes you'll be like, so that's how you're going to understand India more if you go to the town rather than cities.
Mhm. Well, and that's even like when I go and stay in New York City with my daughter for dance programs. We always stay
Mm,
in the burbs. Like I love to stay in Queens and
mm,
Astoria, in the areas where it's like um, the Eastern Asian and like Western European groups all come
mm.
together, and just hearing all the different languages and how diverse it is
Yeah.
in those parts of the city. I just love being immersed in all that and immersing my kids in it because that's how I would love to live. Like I love
Mm,
Colorado because I'm 25 minutes from the
mm,
Rocky
mm,
Mountains. Like I can go and see the most pristine views like in the country.
mm,
But if I were in the city, I would definitely be living like out in one of the areas that's more like a borough where it's very
mm.
diverse because I don't want to just I would love to have more of that diverse, and the food was all amazing. Like, oh my god, I could have Indian food one night, Mexican food one night, Thai food one night, and it was all so good. Like I love to
Yeah.
eat. I am a food person. Like everybody that knows
Mm.
me, like if you want to catch me in person at a conference, you offer me like a free meal, I'm there. You can say like you want to go out and you want to get a drink. Like I'm not a big drinker. I love food and I love dessert, especially. Like you say, like you want to
Mm.
go and get an ice cream sundae somewhere versus like you want to go get a glass of wine somewhere. I'm gonna go for the ice cream.
Oh. Yeah. Maybe it's related to all the girls that they like ice cream the most.
Yeah, I love sweets, so I always joke
Okay.
that I am like I don't know if you've seen the movie Elf, but I'm like Buddy the Elf, where like I will even put maple
Mm,
syrup in my coffee. They did
mm,
it in Canada when I was up there, and so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try this, and it's good. And now I do it every once in a while when we get really bad hotel coffee. I'll ask for maple
mm,
syrup for breakfast, and I'll pour it in, and my husband just starts laughing, and everyone else looks around and is like, "What is like? Is she doing? Is she really putting syrup in there?" Or Amy Poehler on Parks and Rec, like she puts a ton of sugar in her stuff. That's
uh,
me. I have a sweet tooth,
okay.
which is why I do
Okay.
so much hiking and running around and I'm
Mm,
active, is because I can't give up my sugar.
mm. So, uh, what is the best compliment that you have received from your husband?
Um, oh my goodness, that's hard because we try and compliment each other all the time.
Mhm,
Uh, Probably just, like, even he still commends me on, like, how great my kids were because they're not his kids. We actually, and that's part of why I like the Indian weddings where families come together. That's what we did when we got married,
mhm,
is it wasn't so much like a wedding as we did,
mhm,
like, a celebration of us all coming together as a family and, like, him becoming the dad of my kids and stuff. So
mhm,
they were very much involved in all of it as well. Um, but yeah, I mean, like because he came from a family where his parents were together like the
mhm,
entire time from when before he was born to when they passed away, unfortunately. And yeah, he's like, that looked like it was really hard, and it was. And the fact that he realizes that and acknowledges that, and knows that that's part of the foundation of the kids even before he was around for our two great children we have now. Um,
mhm,
I would say it's that, and then also, like, even the fact, the other day,
mhm,
he gave me a great work compliment just because it made me crack up. I was on a Salesforce call, actually, and whatever was going on, like, it just wasn't relevant, and, I basically cut the call short, but politely, and then I turned around, to say something to him, and before I even opened my mouth, he was like, that was a really great way of saying get better content or stop wasting my time." I just started cracking up, and I was like, "I didn't even think I was saying it that way, but thank you, honey."
Uh, this will happen most of the times. Will happen this one, right? Like
Mhm,
both of the things that, yeah, we try to use that
mhm,
words and play with it. That becomes the most interesting thing.
mhm.
Uh,
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, both of us, that's what's funny, like, we don't care about, like, the awards and things that we
mm,
win. We're both happy when we both succeed,
mm,
but really, like, we both are more happy that we both feel like fulfilled people and we're, like, doing things with our lives, and, we both, like, each year, we kind of ask, like, at the new year, "What are kind of your plans for the year? Or is there anything you wanna accomplish that I can help with?" Like, when I first started learning to backpack,
mm,
that was like a New Year's thing where I was like, I think now that we've been out in Colorado for a few years, I want to try backpacking. It's like I used to do it when I was young and in college and go off on my own in the woods. Like I think I can do it out here too. And he was like, okay, how are you going to need my help? I was like, well, obviously, like if I'm gone for a weekend and the kids need to go somewhere, like you have to be the parent. I was like, but yeah, other than that, like being my safety person that knows where I am and keeping track of me.
mm,
And that's the same. Like, and now he, while being unemployed, like, um, he's starting to think about other things he wants to do besides just like Salesforce architecture stuff that he's done
mm,
forever. And so that's a lot of like, I've been like, okay, great. What do I need to do to help you? And one of the things I did was like, now I'm covering our whole family on insurance so he can take his time to do
mm,
whatever it is that he wants because I want him to feel fulfilled. He definitely was burnt out by the last like year and a half or so at Salesforce. He was not the same architect that he was the first like 16 years. There was definitely a fire in his belly. He was proud of what he did, and towards the end, he wasn't. And so that was like, now that he's been laid off, I was like, no, let's get you back to where you were. Um, and so that's what we do for each other. And again, that's kind of the balance that we were talking about earlier in the conversation. That we try and support each other
yeah.
and be each
When
other's
you,
cheerleader.
yeah, when basically he has a wife like you, he will definitely be always be there, and obviously there will be always a balance, which I can see
Mhm,
that. Okay. And definitely I want to meet him because I like decoding him because
mhm,
not all men's you'll find like him. That is guaranteed from my side,
mhm.
which I have listened. I listened to all these things so many
It's
times. Like
because
I'm
he has
more.
a 4'8", or he had a 4'8" feisty mother who worked with the fire department, and her job was to corral the firefighters when
Mm,
they were at the fire station and like make sure they cleaned up after themselves so there wasn't moldy food growing in the microwave when they forgot about it when they went on a run. Um, and so yeah, like he learned a lot from her because she was an amazing woman. Like, and like he grew up Jewish, and so his family like
mm,
came during World War. He learned a lot of like what happened during the Holocaust and things like that. Where like there's different
oh,
things that he approaches life with like a different kind of empathy because of the things that his family has gone through in their history
mm.
um, nowadays. But
Yeah,
yeah, like
yeah, I
then
read
his
a lot of
dad owned
history.
that he like built up from the ground up in Chicago. So like he's just
Mm,
he's had a very well rounded upbringing, and his
okay.
mom made sure that like he treats women
Mm,
right just as good as he treats men because that's like her thing. And yeah, she was a great lady. Unfortunately, we lost her in 2017 to breast cancer.
mm, okay.
But yeah,
Yeah,
even that like she
yeah.
fought
I was.
3 times.
Yeah, I'm also a so people I say, yeah, I'm mama's son. So
Yep.
I'm also, yeah, I'm very proud of my mom. So
Yep.
we know, yeah, when we are raised by those beloved, like I love my mom more than anyone else. So
Mhm.
when we are being brought up that way, okay, the respect for ladies, yeah, definitely. Like I have two sisters, I love my sisters
Mhm.
very much. So that
Yep.
happens because when you're raised that way, that always there.
Yep.
So yeah.
And I hope my
Mm,
son loves me more than any other woman too, forever. That's what I always tell him. I'm like, I am your lady. Even for like when he first got into high school and like had Valentine's Day, he'd be like, "Can I go on a date with so and so for Valentine's Day?" I was like, "I'm your Valentine."
uh, love for mom will never change, no matter
Yep.
whoever we meet. That is a
Oh yeah,
different
that's
one. Yeah,
oh
that
yeah.
love
He
is a
was
different
even.
one.
I was only down here going to Universal Studios because for with NBC since we own Universal, we get a benefit. And
Mm,
then he was at Disney the past few days, and each morning he called, he'd be like, "Are you coming over to this park too?" And I was like, "Sorry, sweetie." So yeah, the
mm,
fact that he's calling
mm,
me at 17 to see if I was joining him in
mm,
Florida, even though I never
mm.
see him when we're at home. I was like, "Oh, he loves me. He's still my
Yeah, yeah,
baby."
definitely.
He's
Yeah,
my six
yeah,
foot two
definitely.
baby, while I'm a whole 5'3", so he's almost a foot taller than me, but still my baby.
Oh my God. I'm always jealous of these people who are six above six. I have just 5'11". I'm just saying, God, could me make it one more? Then I would have said I'm 6 foot. So I.
So it skipped a couple generations. My grandpa was super tall. My dad was
Mm,
not, and my
mm,
husband and my kid's biological dad is also like 5'10" maybe. So yeah, he
mm,
just like shot up like my grandpa out of nowhere because all the other
oh,
men in the history, besides I can remember, my grandpa were not that tall. And my grandpa,
oh.
I always remember when I was little, is he was super tall and skinny like my son. That at night when he would come out to check on us, he'd be like a scary ghost in the dark because he had like long arms and legs and was super skinny and tall and under the blankets.
Yeah, maybe from our side is like our mother's side.
Mhm,
They are tall and all, but my father is little. Yeah, he's so we are mixed. So I
mhm,
I stayed between 5'11" now. I always curse myself. Why God, give me 1 more inch. I would have 6.
Yeah. So
Okay.
my daughter is 5'6", and I have no idea how, because my mom is
Mm,
4'9". No, sorry,
mm,
4'11". I was like, wait, I forgot some inches there in a foot. So yeah, she's not even 5 foot. My sister is barely 5 foot. I'm 5'3". My grandma was barely 5 foot. The grandma on the other side is barely 5 foot, and then she's 5'6". I have no idea where she got it from. There's no woman in the history of our women that are that tall. She's like an Amazon in our family.
Oh my goodness. So now though this will be, I can go on with you on this. Okay. So now I'm going to ask you, people find it very, I don't know why. Okay. But for me, this is the most interesting one. I want to ask you 5 favorite name from Salesforce Marketing Cloud. 5 name of the people. Yeah.
5 favorite people. Um, do they have to currently be working in Marketing Cloud, or can they be past Marketing Cloud?
Past, present, future, anything.
Okay. So obviously my husband, because he made a lot of Marketing Cloud, him and some of his good friends. Al Iverson is another one. So Al Iverson has been in deliverability longer than I have been in email. But Al is super supportive of everyone I've ever met. So the guy that introduced me to ExactTarget worked under Al, and when he left and started his own company, which was 250 OK, which was recently acquired, Al was super supportive of him and helped mentor him the whole time. And Al also kept a connection with me. And even now, NBC has benefited by the fact when he left Salesforce Marketing Cloud and went over to Kickbox. We already had
Mm,
Kickbox, so I emailed him right away, and I was like, I don't know what you're doing over there, but I know you do deliverability, and I know they don't have deliverability tools right now, and I want to get in on the ground level. And so as soon as he started releasing all his new deliverability tools for Kickbox, we got to be beta testers.
mm,
Because that's like, he just wants people to be successful in email.
mm,
Let's see what you already have Jenna, but yeah, she's like my twin. She and I like I would say my email career has been much more fulfilling having Jenna around, to bounce ideas off of.
mm,
And even just the fact that now we live in the same city, we've been to each other and we know what the hell each other's talking about. All of my other friends weren't in email. So they'd be like, even my mom,
mm.
she was, up until recently, she thought that I literally typed out all of the transactional emails for Famous Footwear emails when people bought shoes. I was like, no, Mom, let me show you the script that I have that actually does personalization and pulls in all that data so you can see what I really do.
Wow. Mm,
So yeah, that's 3.
mm.
Let's see here. Uh, there's so many that I feel bad. Like, I feel like I'm going to leave people out. Um, I would say Aisha that I was hanging out with yesterday here at Universal. She's another one. She's an up and coming email marketer. She's not quite a baby. She's like a few years behind Jenna and I. But she's really eager. She always makes me laugh. She's just somebody I love to see whenever I go to conferences and stuff. She's really supportive. She'll be everybody's cheerleader. She cracks me up because when she was the events person for Women of Email, like literally everybody that joined Women of Email, she was a Facebook friend with them. Like she has so many Facebook friends because she's the type that, like, I'm very limited with my Facebook stuff. Like that's my personal, and I try and keep personal and work somewhat separated, just because sometimes like people have different values at work than you do sometimes at
Mm,
home, and I just don't want to insult anyone. Um, and so yeah, I kind of try to keep them separated. But Aisha's Aisha. She doesn't care. She'll be your Facebook friend. She'll be your LinkedIn friend. She'll be your Twitter friend. She'll be your in-person friend. Like, and like I said, she's a great person to be around. She cracks me up. She's always a smiling face. Even her husband, who I hung out with for the first time yesterday, is just a really great guy. They're just a great couple to be around. And she's always asking questions from like Jenna and I, but then she's taking what she learns and she is disseminating it down to up and coming people. So it's like another part where I said, like, I feel like it's my job to teach people. She's one of them I'm teaching, but she also feels like she should be sharing.
mm,
And so those are the type of people that I'm drawn to. Amanda Turner is also like that, which I think
mm.
you were already talking to her or did talk to her as well.
Yeah, she's
Um,
coming.
but yeah. She and Aisha are like my two ladies. When I see them at conferences with Jenna, like those are you usually see me palling around with them. And always like we're not a clique. We look really close, but you can always come up and talk to us. because I've also been told like I can be a bit intimidating. Um, I am very serious. Like when it comes to work, I can be very businessy. But none of that is usually directed towards like the actual email community. When I am at like Salesforce events like Connections, there are usually about 10 different parts of Connections trying to make me sit through sales pitches at the same time, where all I want to do is like go and meet new email marketers, teach people how to do cool stuff. I hate sitting through sales meetings, and the fact that every time I get there, they corner me. Like it's nothing like I'm not stressed at anyone else. I'm just trying to hide from Salesforce account managers that want to sell me a new product. So please come up and talk to me and say hi. Let's see. Another one I would say is Greg Cryos, also in deliverability. So a lot of my deliverability guys are my favorite people because back when deliverability was a new thing, like they were in there like getting to know all these ISPs and making connections, and like they're the people now that still have these connections and are go-to people. So Greg, when he left deliverability for ExactTarget, he started 250 OK, which was then acquired by Validity. I have known Greg since like high school, and like I said, he's the one that told me about ExactTarget, and he's just a great guy that's also supported the community. And so yeah, like he inspires me. The fact that like I've known him, I know somebody now that made millions of dollars selling a deliverability company, and it still blows my mind. I'm like, I knew Greg. We were in a wedding together in Vegas, and now he has sold a company to Validity, and I'm like, it's just amazing. So it's stuff like that. But yeah, and like I said, he came under Al, so he learned everything he knew from Al, and then went on to become another Al. Let's see, I know so many people, and that's why it's so hard. Like I could go on and on. Another guy that's really great that came from the development side is Wayne Mail. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to talk to him yet. He is on the How To group. He just joined recently. So he was one of the original like outbound mail guys. So like when things went down and there were issues with like mail going out, he is your guy. You want to know like how email works technically once it leaves ExactTarget or Marketing Cloud, like he is your guy. He has two of the cutest little girls. Like I've known him. Our kids grew up together. We're Facebook friends. We support each other. And now that he has left Salesforce, like he also is one. He wants to share his knowledge with other people because he wants people to be successful. He's super funny and super nice. Big Disney fan.
Oh, you're talking about Chris, right? Chris.
Wayne.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so there's a Chris and then there's Wayne. Wayne.
Okay. When? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know
Wayne
him.
came from. He is like he's just recently joined How To SFMC. So if you look him up, you'll actually see some post in there where the first time he posted, all I did was like put his name in all caps with a bunch of exclamation marks and hearts. Because I was so excited that he joined. That's usually how you can find my favorite people in like How To SFMC is like you just see me put their name in all caps with an exclamation mark. And then Gilda. I mean, everybody's probably told you Gilda already.
Yeah,
so I've known Gilda.
I only need 5 names. Yeah, you have gone to till 7. I'm taking Gilda into there also. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just trying to think of people that like I have 5, but I wanted to also give you people that you haven't already talked to. So that's why I was trying to give you a few extras.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and if I forgot anyone, I am so sorry because I love everybody. I'm just like, if he's already talked to you, I didn't mention you, like Adam, Greg, Jenna. Although I did mention Jenna, Gilda. But yeah, that's. I can give you tons of other people too offline if I need to. But yeah, there's so many inspiring people.
Yeah. Definitely. I'll love to get the names. Yeah, but only with caveat that see, I'm also a busy person that I can't go every time. Like currently, maybe I'll go someday late. Okay, but don't be offended that I'm not reaching out to you.
Oh no, that's why I gave you like Greg and Al to corral them. It'll be like trying to schedule me. Maybe even more difficult because they're busy guys as well. So that's why I would
Greg Adams are already done.
No, sorry, Greg Cryos, not Greg Guilford. Greg Cryos that owned 250 OK.
Okay.
Yeah, he is always out like starting his own companies and founding things, and he's just he always has great ideas like how to make the email tools better and stuff. So he's always out there like looking for venture capital and getting investments and stuff. So yeah, he'll be hard to pin down. But the things like you could interview with him are amazing.
Yeah. No, I love picking down. Actually, what happened is in few of our conversation was like people, maybe a lot of people don't understand what I'm doing. Okay.
Hmm.
And uh, maybe they have a different perception of ideas about when they hear about me, because I was
Hmm.
not into the this social media initially. It just
Hmm.
like maybe more than a year that I've been active. Though I was there, but I was not active. Okay, I came with a
I'm
different purpose.
admittedly terrible at social media.
Mhm. Yeah, I come with
Gilda
a
gets on
different
me all the
purpose.
time. She's like, "You need to post more." I'm like, "I'm not doing things on the weekend. I keep forgetting."
Yeah, I came here with a different purpose. Okay,
Hmm.
bringing genuine people and saying, see the
Hmm.
genuine people here. Okay, so uh, somebody said me, Sasee, you are doing for few weeks. They said the passion which I'm doing, that is
Hmm.
unmatched with anyone. Okay,
Hmm.
if you have to do editing, come help me, then you'll understand what the passion has to be there to edit a
Yep.
video. Eh, listening to a 2 hours conversation 20 times, just you understand how many hours I'm going to spend, right?
Yep.
So somebody coming and saying, Sasi, you're doing for some, I said, you don't know about me basically. Okay,
Hmm.
I'm lucky enough that I'm from the very beginning I was able to bring Adam, Greek, and others. Okay, I was lucky enough. So okay. Uh, yeah, there is another quiz that's happening, but yeah, I was speaking
Yep.
those. I think it will be covered there. Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah,
And I
I
love
said,
that. Yeah, I can definitely tell you're passionate about this. That's actually why I agreed. 'Cause I get hit up for people to
mm,
ask me to do interviews and things all the time. And there's very few that I actually do because I'm not the type to self promote. I try not to. I would rather people know like how passionate I am and the fact that I want to share with you my successes. Like this is probably the most I've bragged about myself and talked about myself in a few years. And it feels really weird because I'm the type, like I said, I'm normally behind the scenes cheering on everyone else.
mm,
Because I want everyone to be successful. Like it's great that I'm successful in Marketing Cloud, but as I've said before, I've been doing this 16 years. I'm not doing it forever. Like I gotta start training up other people to be me in 10 years or
mm,
even in 5 years. Who knows what could happen? My kids are gonna be graduating from college here soon. Like I could decide I don't want to do this anymore at all. Or like my husband could be part of a groundbreaking company that gets purchased by someone. And our friend Ben, who I talked about at the beginning for ExactTarget, he got paid in ExactTarget stock. When I owned my own company, I was a partner with his wife working on some projects. And when Salesforce bought ExactTarget, since he was paid in stock, he just cashed out and they didn't have to work anymore.
mm.
So that could happen to us maybe someday if we got lucky.
Yeah,
So yeah, I got to make sure that there's
no,
people that can
for me, yeah,
represent
no.
NBC the way that I
I
do.
basically, yeah, basically, I also love basically training people, and
Mhm.
I love them, see them grow. Okay,
Mhm.
I don't basically. I keep myself low profile, obviously,
Mhm.
not like others, but if I have to, how people are going to term that success, I have my
Mhm.
different definition of success. Okay,
Mhm.
where I don't want to show people saying, see, I have done this and all. Not even I
Mhm.
do mention my .NET certification there. So I say this
Mhm.
is relevant. I'm just going to show you marketing cloud certification. Okay,
Mhm.
so people don't understand. Even I'm a professional trader, so I don't basically. But a lot of people have a lot of misguidings. I'll tell you, a lot of people even they go and dislike my video, and I say, what
Oh.
the hell? Why you are disliking? If you
Mhm.
don't feel like, comment there. Okay, maybe I can improve. But uh, you know, I say there. I know who are disliking also. I know,
Mhm.
because I am very blunt and open, and I say that I'm going to basically bring genuine. When I say bring genuine people, the other side of the
Mhm.
coin. So that is a part of the story there. They have form a group.
I mean, some
They
people
have
are
form
gonna
a group.
dislike it because you don't have a ring light and you don't have a
Mm.
professional like sound system and things. And you put so yeah, as
Yeah,
Jenna said, ignore the haters.
yeah, I don't care. I don't care
Yep,
whatever they have to say. I don't have that much of time and all. Whatever I'm
mhm,
doing is based. I know how I'm investing my time. So
yep.
that
The
much
fact
of
that
I
you
can.
even have the time to do that, like I'm impressed because I know what it
Mm,
takes to like produce
yeah.
podcasts and videos and all that. And yeah, I mean, like it
Mm.
takes dedication. And so yeah, like props to you because I have done it, and yeah, I don't wish to do it again. So I'll sit on this side and I will talk, and then you do all the editing. But I do not want to be the editor again because yes, I also remember even that exact target video. Like I can't tell you how many times I had to listen to that subscribers rule song in order to get
Mm,
things in just the right spot with the video flow and stuff. And
mm.
I could probably still sing the whole song if I needed to, but I'm not going to.
Then I want to
So yeah,
see another.
16 years later, I'm pretty sure that yeah, those thought that it's just embedded in my head forever.
Hmm. Okay. So we know. I think we have almost coming to the 2 hour session here. Though
Mhm.
okay, and I'm very happy that you stayed here. Like a lot of people say, Sasi, now we need to wrap up, but you haven't, which I'm feeling happy.
And that's why I did it on the holiday, because otherwise, yeah, I would
Yeah.
have to cut you short. And I was like, no, I want to
Uh,
actually have a conversation, because that's my
uh,
boss will tell you, like, even on our one-on-ones, like most of the time we don't talk about work. We talk about like how lives are going and whatnot, because he's got little kids and I've got older kids. So
mm,
sometimes I'm even giving him parenting advice. Like he cracked me up before I came out this weekend when we had our one-on-one. One of the things we were talking about is how he had come down here with his 3-year-old and 6-year-old, and I'm down here with a 17-year-old and a 19-year-old. And he was like, "Oh man, you're gonna have so much more fun than I did."
okay. So I'm going to ask you this, like every time this is the which I'm basically doing this conversation is to get the advice, okay, to those new people who are joining Marketing Cloud, okay, where they are looking for help, they are looking for advices, okay, they are looking for how should they learn so that they could basically progress. And like the current situation where the current trend, the way it is going, they
Mhm.
feel like those 1 year 2 years kids, I'll call them kids. I should.
Yeah.
So what I feel like, they are like easily nowadays getting demotivated because
Mhm.
maybe the it is growing at a little rapid speed, okay,
Mhm.
where they feel like they are left out. So for those people, like how do you say, what advice do you want to give to them?
Um, I would definitely say some of the boot camps and things that are put on by some of the non-Salesforce people. Sales is probably gonna get mad at me for saying this, but I honestly think that the non-Salesforce training tools are better than the Salesforce training tools. Like you can go to Trailhead, you can skim through, answer the multiple choice questions. That's not gonna actually teach you how to build something. Going to some of these where you can actually learn to build, um, and get some experience is going to be better. In addition to that, don't silo yourself to just one ESP. Start going to some of the ESP agnostic conferences. So yeah, like Connections and Dreamforce are great. You're gonna learn about new products. You're gonna get like all the bells and whistles of Salesforce, but you're not
Mm,
gonna learn a lot of the strategy that you do when it's an ESP agnostic conference. So like I try and go to a few during the year. This year I went to the Email Experience conference. I'm gonna go to the a couple of them in Vegas. I feel so sorry I forgot your conference names. Love you guys. Just
mm,
been on vacation, have vacation brain. And then Litmus is another one I'm going to go to in October. Litmus I'm more going to go to because that one is great for my team. I want to be there to kind of support them and answer questions. And I love food in Boston. Back to the food again. Like a lot of times I go to conferences based off of what food I can eat.
mm,
Like DC, I really was craving paella, and you can't get good paella in Denver because we're not near any oceans. Like people, if you're getting fresh seafood in Denver, you're getting fresh seafood because
mm,
there's not an ocean
mm,
near
mm,
us. And so yeah, like I went out to DC because I knew there were tons of international restaurants and things, and I wanted to go and eat a bunch of international food, especially paella. And so I was like, oh,
mm,
EEC, excellent. Boston is lobster rolls, chowder, all the good things. Plus, they have both a development and a strategy track. That's why I
mm,
like Litmus so much because my email marketers can go over to the strategy track while my team can actually go over to the development track. So they can see all the tech innovations going on behind the scenes while my actual like marketers are over here learning the strategy. So then they can come together at the end of the day when we go out to dinner and stuff, and they can start bouncing ideas off of each other. And I love
mm,
to watch that. I love when my teams are collaborating and getting excited about things and just bouncing and be like, "Oh, I want to do this. Oh, I just learned how to do that, and you can do it this way and this way. Oh, cool. So then can we do this? Oh, yeah, we can do it." Like those conversations are what like fuel my soul as a manager now. I used to be the developer. I love getting my hands dirty, doing all the things, and it was really hard to switch over. But now I found as a manager that like my thing that makes me happy is watching my team succeed and get these ideas. Like I thought it was going to be that they learned a new code or a new way to do something, and that would get me excited. And it does, but it's really like when they get excited about their jobs and what they're doing, and like seeing that I'm building that passion behind it is what's making me more excited as a leader.
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah. But one thing is like people definitely would like to give ideas, bouncing of ideas.
Hmm.
Definitely, I'm one of them. Like I
Hmm.
like if I go to Trailhead and the Trailblazer community where people are asking questions,
Hmm.
even if I haven't implemented, I'll be like, what if you do this?
Yep.
Yeah. So, but what I've seen with young people is they are learning.
Hmm.
They're learning. So they feel like obviously I also get a lot of criticism when I do
Hmm.
all these things because I'm not a known person. Okay. I don't have any crown like marketing cloud champion or MVP. Okay. And
I have
people.
never been an MVP, and I just happened to be a champion because I was one of the first. But like, I those don't mean anything. I'm going to tell you, as a hiring manager and someone who's done this 16 years, I don't care if you're an MVP. Honestly, like Jenna will tell you, I sometimes call them glory whores because a lot of the ones that are MVPs, they're basically out there because they work for agencies and they're supposed to be bringing in work for those agencies anyway. So they're already supposed to be doing those thought leadership pieces so that they can bring in the clients. So they're really just selling themselves. It's another way for like agencies to basically say like, look at all these MVPs we have on staff. I can tell you, I've seen like some of those MVPs don't code that well. They're really good at selling themselves, but what they produce isn't as great as some of these new kids. So like I don't care if you're an MVP. I care about your experience. I don't care how many certifications you have. You have 20 certifications, guess what? Marketing Cloud only offers 4, and unless you're like an email developer, you don't need all 4. So I want to see what projects you've done. Like I even have problems now with agencies where they try and tell me like we have this person, they have 20 some odd certifications across all these clouds. We have this person that's an MVP. I'm like, great, have they ever integrated RSS via script activity into a program and then built it in to be dynamic content in email? They're like, oh no, we don't know how to do that. I'm like, okay, you're wasting my time. Don't care. You can't do the skills that I need. Go on, find someone else. So don't worry about getting certified. Don't worry about being an
Oh,
MVP. Don't worry about being a champion. Worry about developing those skills because if you want to work with somebody like
I
me,
I'll
I
tell
don't
you.
care about
Yeah.
any of those things.
Yeah. I tell you. I frankly don't care.
Yep.
And I'll after recording, I'll tell you a few things after
But yeah,
stopping
like
this. But
even certifications. So I have the Marketing Cloud certifications. I also have a Litmus certification that's just email development. I can tell you that Litmus certification, I had to send in my code. There are people looking at my code and critiquing it to get that certification, not answering multiple choice questions for Salesforce. I have a
mm,
deliverability certification that's no longer available anymore. It's from Chris
yeah, I
Arendelle
saw
back
that.
when, yeah.
I saw that.
And
I
that
saw
one,
that.
I had to go and take a 2-day course on deliverability and
Mm,
sit in there and actually and that's where actually met Al in person for the first time outside of when he had left. Well, even at Salesforce, at Marketing Cloud or ExactTarget, I only met him once because he lived in Chicago at that time. So that was the first time I
mm,
got to actually like spend time at an event with him. And so a lot of it, go to those things where you can create those relationships because I can tell you, I created more lasting relationships at some of these agnostic events with people than I have at just sticking within Salesforce. Like
mm,
Salesforce is great. That's where the money is. It's a great tool. It's limitless. It's my favorite tool to use. I can use other ESPs, but at the same time, like I always make sure I am a well-rounded marketer. So I'm making
mm.
sure that especially like NBC, we don't just use Marketing Cloud. We've got a few different ESPs, and I know how all of them work. So I can actually tell all of those different teams the benefits of those tools and the benefits of Marketing Cloud.
Mm.
But I'm not going to judge them because they choose because of like budget or whatever it is that they have to stick with that other ESP. I'm still going to support them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Again, I'm saying like I'm
Mhm.
just new
Yep.
in this ecosystem, right? I
Yep.
just been maybe I started with August, September, October,
Hmm.
and if somebody others are doing, I don't know. For me, if
Hmm.
somebody is saying like, Sasi, I got email. Okay, I receive email saying that please fill this form. I go there.
Hmm.
Sometimes get curious, but I don't fill
Hmm.
because I'm very bad in writing all these things. Come and talk
Hmm.
to me. I'm better talking to you, but writing their
Hmm.
word and all I can't. Okay,
And
so
honestly, I became a champion because I mean I had FOMO too. Like it happens, but just know that it
mm,
doesn't m- affect the quality of marketer you are if you don't get picked. Um,
I don't endorse actually. And I'll tell
Yeah,
you,
and like I
not
said,
here.
being a champion is
No.
nice to have. I
Yeah.
don't apply to be a MVP. MVP is really for agencies anyway. But yeah, I don't apply to be an MVP. I don't have the time for it really. Like that's the thing. If you're a really good brand side marketer, you don't have time to be an MVP. You don't have time to be a champion because you are affecting your company in ways that you are changing the way that they do business. So
Mhm.
yes, like I may not be an MVP, but I can't was brought into NBC Sports to teach them how to market as a retailer instead of marketing as a media company. And they're completely changing the way they do business. And even some of like at Caleris, where you saw some of those other stats were like or um,
Mhm.
acquisition, something went up by like I can't even remember all my stats anymore because
Mhm.
I like to do that for every company because I feel like everyone can be successful in email marketing and it's not those titles that are gonna do it, it's the passion behind it and the creativity. Like, I'm not just dev and I'm not just a marketer. Like, I that's one of the things, when people call me a unicorn, it's because of the fact I love both. I love the strategy side. I love being challenged with, like, coming up with this new cool idea, but then I also like coming back to my team and being like, "Okay, and now we have all these toys and tech. How are we gonna make it happen? Or do we get a new toy?" Although we don't just buy new toys for fun, like,
Mhm.
but it's that side that, and I've worked really hard to develop those skills. And none of that you're going to get from any of these programs. You're going to more from creating relationships and asking questions and learning and listening. Um, I've
Mhm.
always tried to listen as much as I can in meetings and even ask, like, I still ask if I can be a fly on the wall in certain meetings. There's one that we
Mhm.
have for the Olympics planning. It has nothing to do with what I'm going to do marketing wise for the Olympics. It's just talking about what we're doing, like at NBC behind the scenes to even prepare, like technology wise for cameras or like schematics for tracking where people are going to be or scheduling interviews and stuff. But it's all the things that I find fascinating that I think are going to make me a better employee in general for the company because I know how things work. So that's like, don't worry about building out your Salesforce pieces right now. Like, get your email skills and stuff and really learn really about how to better affect your company from the inside because that's what's going to make you the champion or the MVP are all of these like things that you do that change the way that the company does business. I never decided I was doing all of this work because I wanted to be a marketing champion. I just really love the companies that I work for. I'm a shoe addict. You'll actually see me only wear
Mhm.
about the same 2 or 3 pairs of shoes most of the time, but I have like 100 pairs of shoes from the shoe company I worked for, and most of them I've only worn like one time. But I
Mhm.
just couldn't let those shoes stay on the shelf.
I'm
And so
also
it
shoe
made it
addict. I don't
really
know.
easy
Uh,
to
few
sell
things,
shoes.
yeah, no, few things maybe your few characters are matching with
Mhm.
me. I'm also shoe addict. Okay, and I also that what you said just now. Okay, with all these
Mhm.
things, I don't like, and I have to just turn the recording and I'll tell you after
Mhm.
that what I've said because I
Mhm.
have already recorded with someone with this.
Mhm.
Okay, and I'll tell you what happened there. Yeah,
Yeah.
and for me is I what I love is I love speaking. Give me a platform. Okay,
Mhm.
I'll tell you how this ESPs will basically benefit you. Okay,
Mhm.
what you can do and how you can do. Okay, what you can think out of. I don't like out of the box. I even make it much better than out of the
Mhm.
box. So I like explaining people how this all things can
Mhm.
happen. Okay, even I love writing. If I go, I don't ask everyone to come to Facebook, but in Facebook I write beautiful articles on politics and a lot of other things. I
Mhm.
was in Quora where I used to have 55,000 followers and all. So I
Nice.
write all the other things very no
Mhm.
yeah, okay. Here people is like, are you an MVP? Are you if you are not, then I said, I'm just starting, guys.
Mhm.
Just hold on for 2 3 years, you'll know.
Mhm.
That's what I simply say to those those people who are discouraging me.
Mhm.
So I'll tell you after this. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, and don't let any of them discourage you. Like Tony, I think have you interviewed Tony yet? The
yeah,
Panther?
yeah.
He's only been doing this for a couple of years, but he's
Mhm.
just got the fire and the passion behind him that he's going to go places. He doesn't need to be an
Yeah,
MVP. He doesn't need to be a champion. Like he just has that gumption already that people are going to want to hire him.
yeah.
And so that's yeah, like those are the people I'm looking for. I've already told like Tony and Jenna, both of them, if I could afford them at NBC, they would be on my team because they are the
Mhm.
type of people that I want to hire. And it's not because of any fancy titles. It's because of the fact that they love what they're doing and they just have a fire in their belly. And they like to experiment and they like to try things and they like to mess up and they like to iterate on it, and those are the people I like. As I always say, like, we're not curing cancer in email marketing. I literally worked for a biotech company where we sold the antibodies or whatever it is that you test in the labs in order to try and cure cancer. Like, I've done that. It was boring. It wasn't any fun. It was high stress. What we're doing here, not curing cancer. Like, let's have fun. Let's make mistakes. Let's get dirty. Let's tell people what we messed up. Let's apologize to our customers if we made them mad, and let's move on. Like, it's just email. I mean, please, please, please don't do anything where you're like gonna burn a bridge with all your customers. But when it comes to, like, yes, maybe your personalization algorithm went wrong and you showed them the wrong shoe or the wrong article because they like football or they like boots, and you showed them sandals or soccer because it was the wrong football. It's okay. You're gonna get, like, there's billions of people on this planet. We'll get more subscribers. Shoot, for sports, our people are cyclical. Like, they come for football. Once football's no longer in the articles and in the newsletters, they unsubscribe until it's preseason again, and then they're back. So I mean, like, people are gonna come back if they want your products. Like, yes, they may have gotten upset. There are a few products or people out or companies out there that have like burned bridges but I mean, you have to do some pretty bad stuff. If it's like, don't be scared to just try new things. That's our big thing this year for NBC. We're doing a ton of A/B testing. Like, this is the year of the test, is what I keep joking, because we're just going to experiment this year. It's an off year for the Olympics. We've got some time, so we're going to try some new things before we do our next start Olympic send, where we're sending twice a day, every day for 2 weeks straight.
Okay. Okay. Corinna, you have given 7 names. Okay. Maybe I'll ask you those LinkedIn profile for the 7 names, including the first one is obviously husband. Okay. So please do send me this LinkedIn profile for them. So, I can
Shoot me an
download them.
email since I'm on vacation, because
Yeah.
I'll probably forget. I would say shoot me an email with to remind me, so I don't forget since I'm on vacation. Because after this, I'm going down to the pool, and I'm gonna honestly having some adult
Okay.
beverages today.
Yeah.
So
Maybe I'll ping you in the email, or I'll ping you in the how to SFMC
yep,
with this detail. Okay.
yes,
So
yeah. Today's our last day of
maybe, yeah.
vacation, so we're laying by the pool and
Well,
taking it easy
anytime, yeah,
today.
yeah. I have things to upload, so obviously that will help me. Okay, so yeah, I will stop this